What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a circle out on this thing, a little bit bigger than what she's thinking, and we'll take a look at it. We'll place it in our family room and see what it looks like. I'll put it on an ottoman or something, and so she can get an idea. This is a pretty dirty piece, so what I'll do is I'll sand it and clean it up. But let's mark the center of this, and then I'll show you guys how I'm going to do a circle. So what we're going to do is I'm going to throw a chalk line. This should be 48 by 48. I'm just going to take a chalk line from the corner to this corner here, which is kind of dirty, but it's okay. We'll throw that just to get the center of this piece of wood roughly anyway. And then we'll take one from this corner. There we go, we got our center. So now, the game plan with this is to use my straight edge. You guys have seen me use this straight edge when I use the plasma cutter. You got a couple of these pieces, I absolutely love having them around. What we're going to do is we'll drill a hole through this, and we're going to measure. So I'm going to get a tape measure. So this is, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's 48. Okay, so I'm going to make this table roughly about 40 inches. They're circular around 40. So what we're going to do is we'll drill a hole. Remember, this is just a scrap piece we're going to use as a template. Okay, so if we're going to go, I'm going to do it at 40. So we know half of the circle would be 20, correct? So that's there, and we're just going to make a mark here at 20. And we'll do right then in the center. And then I'm just going to make a mark here, say that's 20 inches, okay? So we know that's a 40-inch diameter. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put a screw in the center of that. And I thought I had one. Let me grab one off my bench. And what I'm going to do is I'll put a screw in the center of that. And we're going to spin that around. And I've got myself my perfect circle. So that's should be 40, and it's 40 right on. Okay, so I'll unscrew that, we'll cut this out, and we shall take a look and see how she is. And we're going to need that screw for later. And I've got some blades. I just bought some new blades. What did I do with them? Oh, they're there. Let me grab them. Now I'm just going to do a rough cut. No, we just want a rough cut's fine. Fine cut, fast cut, smooth cut. All right, let's try this. Let's see how that goes. Let's put this back up here. And we'll just pull this off. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a quick sand just to clean up the edges. I don't want to bring it in the house and ruin anything. Don't have to make it that pretty, but enough that it you got a battery for that. Alright, so I don't want to waste too much time on that, but just enough that I can grab it and we're not getting splinters when we bring it in. And it's slightly cleaner than it would have been otherwise. Okay, I got the circle ready. You saw that was pretty simple to do. What I'll do is I'll do 2 of these. Now this is just a rough piece. I'm not going to actually use this one. I want to just play around with this one for sizing. What we're going to do is we're going to use, of course, I've got some finished ply, which is maple. And then I've got a special plywood, which is called FlexiForm. And what it does, it bends beautifully and takes shape. And then we'll get that ready to rock and roll. So I'll have to cut a top and bottom. And I'll show you guys how I do that. Okay guys, so we tried it out in the family room. That's going to be the size of the top. Now we got to do 2 cylinders for the underneath. So, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So if I want, I don't know, let's say an inch overlap, stick out, right? So the top is going to stick out from the bottom cylinder. And I'm going to say about an inch or so of fluting. And I'll show you guys what I'm going to do with that. That'll give me, what do I got? I need a tape measure. What am I removing? I am removing about 1.5 inches. So I'm going to be safe, I'm going to remove 2 inches. So when I cut the bottom, the 2 pieces to do the cylinder, it is going to be 2 inches smaller. Okay, so we're going to take this guy again. Now remember, this is just a mock-up of the very, very top of the table. So if I'm going to go 2 inches smaller, I got 20. I'm going to go to 18. I'm going to go to 18. That's 2 inches smaller. Try that again. Oh, come on now. $18. Okay, we'll drill a hole in that. I'm going to try to keep it around the same space. And we're just going to mark 18. Okay, so I think we're good. So what we want to do now is grab some of the material that I have, that I bought. And then we'll leave this because I'm going to use that when I actually make the top. So from here, we went and we did 18, 2 inches, 18. There we go, just so I remember what the markings were. Okay, so we'll put this aside. And we're going to need this when we actually do the physically do the top. And I'll show you guys when I get to that point. So, what we want to do now is get our finish ply. Okay. Now we basically do the same thing, chalk line from corner to corner. Okay, let's give this a light sand. I'm going to try to keep the strander as straight edge as I can. Okay guys, so we're going to move on to the next piece. This one's cleaned up the edges. I'm happy with that. And we'll move it over here. That's perfect. Okay, so let me grab the next piece and we'll put it on top. We got to see which side's the better side. And this side's the better side. And we'll do the chalk line again. Okay, so next step is we got to cut a couple of strips. So I'm going to move my setup table, move it over here, and we're going to need the table saw. I don't know if you guys watched that video, but this is a game changer for me, as I can take the table saw out and set it up without having or losing lots of space, which has been awesome. There we go. Okay, so we'll move some of these tools off to the side, just because I gotta move some of this stuff around so I can cut that form. Try to be as organized as I can, guys. I'm going to need this guy too, but we'll move him down for now. And this guy, I think I can swing him this way. I think so. And we're good. Okay, let's loosen this fence up and get him out of the way. We're going to need that later. Oh. Okay guys, so I've got this table saw set up. I'm going to cut some strips out of this, about an inch thick. We're going to need power. So we will power up table saw right over here, like so. And we'll rip a couple of strips out of this guy. Okay, so we'll cut that at 10 inches. Let me just move the saw down. Okay, so we can't do it that way because I don't feel like moving the thing around. Let me sharpen this pencil. I'll mark 10 inches and we'll cut. We need 4 of them. Excuse me. I lost the cover. Oh, there it is. Okay, we'll plug in this miter. Got enough cord? Should. Bring her on over just a bit. There we go. All right, let's cut 10 inches on this. Inches. She'll mark this one, 10 inches. Okay, that should do it. These should be all perfectly aligned. And they are. Perfect. Okay, so let's get this setup table ready. We're going to need the compressor. We're going to need some glue. Okay guys, so I got everything set up. I got my nails into my nailer there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this standing up. I'm hoping you guys can see that. Actually, let me grab some glue. And we'll try to do it standing up so you guys can see what I'm going to try to put it right in between those line, of course being flush. I like to think I'm tall enough, but that's good. Okay, let's do the other one. Good. It's good. Of course, that piece is not good. That's okay. That's good. Okay, so this is going to be the top, upward. I think this is the one with the messed up bottom, yeah. Okay, so that's the messed up bottom. So what I want to do on this one, let me just lean this on top of here for a second. I want to drill a hole through that. The reason being is I want to make sure I can get dead center for the riser. Okay, that should be okay. So this one is going to flip over and go like so. So what I want to do is kind of line things up a bit. Maybe we'll throw some glue on this. There. This guy is just up there. Now we'll get a square where we nail this in and make sure it's square. we're good. Okay guys, so we're going to get this out of the way for now, because we're going to need the bench and the table. We just don't want it to break or separate. So I'll just kind of move it over here for now, like so. It should be okay. And then we're going to put this table here to help catch that FlexiForm. Now, FlexiForm, all it really is bendable plywood. It's about 3/8 thick. It'll only bend a long way, so on the 8-foot run. It is a little bit of a challenge to cut. I've used it before in other projects, so it will cut well, but there's always the challenge. Well, we need an 8-foot stretch. We just got to make sure we got 8 feet, because we got to run it right through. It should be good. Okay. So I've got the fence already marked for 11 inches, right? Because the spacers we had on that were 10, 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch top, so 11 should be perfect. Let's plug this table saw back in. Okay. Let's see how she goes. No. Gotta go that way more. I don't clear. So, I think I'm gonna have to put the table on that side to help me hold this ply. I'm not having very good luck holding it. Okay, so let's try it this way. Move this over. And I'll let that piece drop. That should do it. Okay, I think I'm good. Let's see. Table saw's got to go more that way. And it's got to come more this way. Just trying to line everything up, guys, to make life a little bit easier to cut. How's that? I think we're going to be okay there now. Let's try that again. Wow, we did it. So since I've got this piece already set up like this, I need a 4-inch strip. And I'll show you why I need the 4-inch strip later. But let me try to cut it now, since I'm already set up for it. All right. Let's put this aside. Okay. There we go. Not bad, guys. Slightly challenged, but we did it. That back here. Move this over like so. And we'll move this back out a bit. There we go. Okay. I think we're good. Now, fun part begins for measuring. Now this should be 11 inches, I'm hoping. I didn't mess it up. I'm pretty sure I did it, but you never know. Bang on. A little rough, but not too bad. That's, we can sand that. Okay, so best way to do this is to roll it on. So what I mean by that is that we'll do a little clamp. Well, actually, probably you won't be able to get a clamp on a round cylinder. So I'll roll it on there and then mark it. So here's my best bet. As I was thinking, roll it. And of course, it's not going to be long enough. All right. I guess that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll get this side on. Half on that piece of ply, like so. That's the bottom. That's the top. On the top I want tight. Okay. What's the cut side on this? Is this the cut side? Or is this the cut side? This is the cut side. Okay. Hey. So we're going to need a little bit of glue. Is it going to go anywhere? Yep. So we need to change the nails. On the compressor, on the gun, nail gun. Now we'll see if we can get this thing to work. Oops, sugar. Sorry guys. So, we want it flush to one side. Pick it up. Try to get it as tight as I can. bad. We gotta add a little bit more glue there, guys. Okay, now we're just gonna nail this guy. Nice. Okay, guys, so I put a little piece in there. We'll take this down, and I cut a little piece for here. Okay, so the game plan, let's put a stick there so it doesn't roll. Let's put a stick there so it doesn't roll. There we go. I'll glue this in. Is it going to be the neatest? No, but that's okay. This is all going to get covered anyway. But, you know, the neater you make it, the better the outcome. A little bit of a gap there. A little bit of a gap here. Okay, that should be okay. Well, let's nail her in. And I will deal with it. I wonder if I turn it... Let me see if I turn it this way, what happens. Just out of curiosity. Same deal. Same deal. I think we're good. All right, let's get this back on that table. Looks pretty good. That's going to have to be pushed in a bit. Not bad. Now I'm curious to see what the top looks like. I mean, the mock-up top anyway. Let's see. That's more or less. Yeah, that's going to look nice. And then you got to remember, guys, we're going to have fluting going all the way down. And then we're going to have about an inch lip. Hey guys, good morning. Cheers. My Tim Hortons fix for the morning. So we're back on the coffee table build. We left it off when we did the cylinder. Now we're going to start getting everything prepped. So I've got some boards that I'm going to be using for the top, and I'll show you guys these boards. These were actually given to me from a relative. So the story behind these boards is that they belonged to his dad. His dad passed away and they sold the property. The boards themselves look like they were a stair riser or a runner. Anyway, they're kind of thin for that, or narrow for that, I should say. They're a nice thick chunk of oak, so we got to do a little bit of prep work on those. I've also got a box behind me. Now that is some engineered hardwood. It's actually oak. It's basically leftover from a floor install. And what I'm going to try to do is plane those down and use them to do the spining on this coffee table, and I'll show you what I'm going to do there. So I'll grab a piece of this wood and I'll show you guys here. Now it's pretty thick oak. Now the problem that we're going to have, of course, is it's got its spine on the back, or channel, and it's got a bull nose. So what we're going to want to do is cut this bull nose off, cut that channel off, and then we're going to run this through a planer. So we've got 6 pieces like that, and we'll clean up these edges with the miter just to have a clean slate. So the game plan here, to get this height. I should be able to run this bullnose right up against the fence. Okay guys, so let's, what we're going to do is I'm going to square off the corners just to get rid of some of the, I guess, dead wood on the ends of it. This 0, and I think I have enough cord to plug it in. Yeah. There we go. We'll clean up all these edges a bit. Then we'll run it through the planer. Got wasps everywhere this time of year. Okay, all right. So I'm just going to take off minimal. That's 0, right? No, it wasn't on that 0. That's 0 now. Okay. Clean. Okay. Now we got them all cleaned up, squared off somewhat. Now it's time to run them through a planer. See if I can get rid of a little bit more of that bull nose without compromising too much length. Okay. Go. Okay guys, take a look. So that's pile number 2. So I collected 1 full leaf bag from these guys. Let me show you what they look like. They came out really nice. Now I gotta straighten up and plane out the edges a bit. We'll get one with the straight edge and we'll run it back through the table saw and then a planer a bit, just so they join up nicely. But they're about 1.25 inches thick. And I think that's just a good thickness. You know, they let the top have a little bit of a look, a robust look. And then of course, once you bullnose it, the profile won't look as thick. But that's looking really nice. So guys, at this point, I think I'm gonna call this video. It's getting a little long. If you watched to this point, I truly do appreciate it. Consider subscribing, it really helps me out. And throw me a thumbs up if you like the video. Thank you so much, guys.